Alright folks, here we are for a great round of BBR Canada. It's a bloodbath, eh? And we're here in sunny BC and we are ready to get going. And we have three guys here today. Two are going to play Axis, one will play Allies. And it's set and ready to go. We're doing this at the same time that they're live streaming down in Atlanta. So we'd love to be there, but of course COVID had other plans. So wish us all luck here. And here's the opening attack by Germany. They're going in full bore into the English Channel, and there's been no scramble?
No.
No scramble by the RAF, and Yugoslavia is also kind of taking it on the chin here. And the Canadians, oh, the poor Canucks. But it should be fun. All right, wish us luck. Here we go. Okay, round one is over, and America built 100% in the Atlantic. The Germans, of course, came over and sank the Canadian transport and destroyer. The Germans built the aircraft carrier and a sub, and of course attacked 110. No scramble by the British, but the British then brought everything down to Gibraltar, built an air base. They got scramble capabilities now, and of course the Italians left that alone. Germans did the typical opening, took France and Normandy, lost all their infantry in France, but I think that's it. Didn't lose any of their metal. The Italians, a little bit of a push, took Tunisia, took El Alamein, likely going to fall back, but there it is. The Italians took Greece, and the Italians also were given Bulgaria by the Germans, magnanimous of them. Germans took Yugoslavia. The Soviets have done the typical Soviet thing. They're off one space from the front lines. The Germans, of course, took Finland. Moving to the Pacific side of the... of note, the Italians were able to hold on to Ethiopia and then took everybody into British Somaliland. The British cruiser and everything missed on round one, and so he just retired because the Italians got 2 hits on the Brits. Over here, nothing was built, but a lot of stuff moved around. China, Yunnan was taken by the Japanese, and China came back and took it huge and only lost one horsey. That's the technical term for that unit. And so the Japanese will have its work cut out for it. They got 10 ground units to defeat. We'll see if that actually happens. Japanese built a factory in Kiangsu, and all the typical opening Japanese moves. The Soviets backed off from Amur. Japanese built a sub and the factory and their tech, and brought most of their fleet down here, but also brought a bit of a punch down to the Caroline Islands. Of course, the Americans responded. They brought all their stuff to Hawaii and sent the rest of their fleet down here. Now, they're not at war yet, so they can sail wherever they want. They just can't land next to, or end their turn next to Japanese territory. But they can come down here pretty as you please. And Calcutta decided to send its air force over to Java and help hold it for the Anzac. Trying to create a bit of a problem down here for the Japanese. And that's pretty much it. Nothing was built in the Pacific. So round one is over. We're headed to round two of the BBR. We're 1/8 of the way done. Round two is over, and nothing too untoward's happened. There's no war declarations except by one, and we'll talk about that in a second. The Japanese are down here, a couple of decent fleets, but the Americans, of course, brought everybody down and now have their typical fleet down off the coast. There, the Anzacians are doing their shtick here, capturing these islands, making a, what'd you make, 21? 21 bucks this round. So Anzac's not for lack of a budget. The British came out of Calcutta to possibly help threaten the Japanese in China. The Chinese decided that live to fight another day and backed up, so they're sitting there with 12 infantry, ready to sortie out on turn 3. Russians, of course, may move back into Amur and ready to launch into the Japanese, should they choose. Down in Africa, the Italians have gotten the heck out of Africa. Like, Robert Redford and Meryl Streep. Just get out of there. So they brought some stuff up here, but they did take Malta and they took Gibraltar. So they've been able to capture a little bit of money doing that. Probably won't last, but hey, it was fun. Germans just getting into position here against the Soviets. Soviets, of course, big stack up north and some good armor down south. The British home fleet that went up to 123 to try to save itself was not saved. The Germans were able to destroy their whole fleet for the loss of a couple subs. And America built a little bit in the eastern side here and a little bit in the west, so a little bit of a split there. So yeah, so round 2 is done. I don't think we've seen anything too crazily different from what we typically see in the first 2 rounds, but this being round 3, this is where we get all the fun stuff happening. So we'll let you know what happens right after this. Alright, round 3 is over, and of course everybody's at war now at the end of round 3. And America decided to come up here in Anzac, and the Japanese brought their fleets a little bit closer. So it could be a bit of a battle there. The Anzac are tripping over themselves, capturing a whole bunch of territory here. They made $30 this round, I believe. 30? Something like that. So Anzac's been left alone, and he's made the most of it. Japan continues to kind of nibble through China, but China definitely has a good standing army right now, so they're probably going to launch out one of these days. Still an uneasy truce between the Japanese and Soviets up north. Japanese continue to pour money into subs, and subs are cheap because they got the improved shipyards tech, and so they get $5 subs and $5 transports now, so probably what they're going to be doing. The Americans have brought a bomber slash transport over the Philippines and a tactical as well, so we'll see if they're able to hold on to the Philippines a little longer. Here we have on the Eastern Front, the Germans got their tech as well. So Japan and Germany both got their tech to start the round. Germans took self-propelled artillery, of course. So now Moscow is under threat, but low odds that they'll take it, but it's still under threat thanks to the Italian tank coming through and taking care of a Russian infantry. And then, careful, PG channel. And then, this is war! This is war. And over here we've got Leningrad has been evacuated. The factory moved down to Belarus because it's pretty safe there. What else is going on here? The Italians, their navy remains. The British decided not to, but now they built an air base in Transjordan and got a ton of planes. So it's unlikely that the Italian fleet is long for this world. The British came down, sank the Italian transport that helped take Gibraltar. Down here, the British have finally arrested all of the Italians out of the Horn of Africa. Just got to take back British Somaliland, and so Haile Selassie is very happy with all those goings on. The German Navy up here sank the lone Russian sub, and the British didn't really build anything much here. Building more in Calcutta and in Cairo. And the Americans put most of their build here in the west, or in the east, pardon me. Very little bit of stuff in the west. All they built, I believe, was a tactical and a mechanized and maybe a transport. But so that's the picture right now at the end of round 3. So now the bloodbath will truly begin. There's been a couple of small battles, but nothing monstrous. But that definitely will change this round. Round 4, it's coming up. Gonna happen. Okay, folks, we've reached a point in the game here where we've made a bit of a command decision because the person playing Russia was a little unaware of the sheer magnitude of the self-propelled artillery.
The guy got caught with his pants down.
There you go, what he said. Germany actually was able to take Moscow here on turn 4 thanks to the Italian can opener. So he's conceding, but what we're going to do is we're going to actually give that back to Russia, and we're going to carry on with the rest of the game. We'll keep playing and see how it works out. You know, Russia still has a sizable force here, and they obviously still have their guys in the east. So we're going to see what happens. So this is what's happening. That's going back to Russia. Got down to the last die roll. How many times did you guys do that last round?
6
one,
rounds.
One die? Like it was
Yeah,
just...
I mean, it was, we never repeated a round. We got hits every round.
Oh, okay.
But the last one came down to 1 dice.
Yeah, 1 die on 1 die, and our tank got a 3, and his artillery got a 6, I think. So
I lucked out. I've never had a roll like that before.
yeah, it was pretty insane. So we'll, like I say, we're gonna reset here. We're gonna give money back to Russia, and they're gonna try for their tech, and then we're gonna let you know how the rest of turn 4 goes. Stay tuned. All right, round 5 is about to begin, and some decent battling happened this round. So in the Pacific, the Japanese were able to dispatch the Yankee fleet, and we're down to a cruiser, a wounded battleship, and some planes. So that hurt quite a bit. But Anzac has been cleared out as well. They're down to a transport down here, just trying to get out of the way. Japanese still have quite a bit of stuff here. The British have sortied out of Calcutta and are definitely headed for Yunnan. So that might be a fun little attack we'll do. The Japanese headed off into the Kunlun Pass, and so they're going to pop out somewhere at some time, just to have some fun. Japanese built a few transports and the matching artillery and infantry. We're going to see where they end up. Got a lot of options. So Anzac, as you know, is still bringing in tons of money. But they're stuck building aircraft at this point, and I think they built actually a naval base this round, or an air base this round, somewhere. I'll have to try to find out what they did. So Anzac, what'd you build?
What did I build? I don't know,
2 fighters and a tactical?
2 fighters and attack.
2 fighters and tactical. You didn't put them on, so I'm just wondering where they're going. Okay.
They're going in Queensland.
Okay, because they're off in the water right now. Okay, so Middle East, the British have cleaned out all their enemies and now own all the Middle East. So here we are halfway through the game and they got it all. And they've also built air bases upon air bases. They got one in Transjordan, one in Cyprus. So Italy is now under the guns of the British, as well as dun, 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 the Americans have shown up. So some little bit of concern here for the Axis here on the Atlantic side. Britain still isn't building much. The Germans are there. On the Eastern Front, the Russians just have a ton of stuff. The Italians did a can opener, and they had 1 tank, 2 men, and a fighter, and could not kill 2 infantry. And they lost the tank and the 2 infantry doing it. So just really bad rolling on their part. So no can opener heading into Moscow this time. And as you can see, the Anzac brought their air force up to help out the Muscovites. Over here in the Atlantic, Canadians, now that there's no big threat to them, have built a transport. And the Americans continue to build on the Atlantic side. Pretty much that's it. Yeah, they're having a great time. And yeah, it's a good time here, and we'll see what this Luftwaffe is going to do next round. I'm going to give you a hint. Alright, see you in a minute. Alright, here we are at the end of round 5. We've got 3 rounds left, and this is what's going on. So the Japanese came over here, and the Americans decided to try to put a stop to all that. So we'll see how that goes next round. The Japanese have Honolulu. And took a bunch of money islands this round, or not money, pardon me, a bunch of islands because 2 reasons. One, this is a victory point for the Axis, but also it prevents the American air power from having a spot to land if it wants to come and clobber my stuff. So I did that. Down here, Anzac continues to make a ton of money, but I was able to get Borneo and bite into the UK a little bit, and we took the Philippines for free, and all this kind of stuff. Here, this was a disaster for the Japanese. I had 10 units in there, and including 2 tanks, and in 2 rounds he wiped me out, and I only got 2 hits. So that was somewhat sad. So now China's under a bit of trouble here, and we'll see if these 2 factories will be enough to save her in this area. Over here in the Middle East, the British are tooling up to come in and come help the Ruskies. Italians decided to come over here. A lot more artillery for the Germans being built, and the Italians took Briansk. It's a bit of a can opener move, but there's just not enough German stuff to make that happen this round. In Africa, the UK built some fast units. They're going to hope to move. And now North Africa is completely in Allied control. So we decided as the Axis to abandon Africa from the very start. We never landed a single thing in Africa. And it took 5 rounds, and we still actually own these 2. So that's 1, and that's actually worth 1 in the BBR. So it's actually made us 2 points last round. So we're feeling pretty good about that. Over here, the Americans have brought some more stuff over. This is one of our host's son's toys from the movie Planes, so that's there. And you may have noticed the one over in, a little blurry, there in Queensland. All right, so those are just some tactical bombers. We're doing that to show the guy that, hey, we're playing with your stuff, because he wanted us to play with it. So there you go. Up here, the Americans and British have put a wall of steel, aircraft and ships that will not be gotten through. The Germans built 3 transports last round, but the goal was to get the Americans out of the Med and up here, and hey, look at that, it worked. So we're happy about that. And that's pretty much it. Canadians built another transport. The Americans brought a transport from the Pacific on over to save it from the Japanese subs. The Americans landed in Normandy, Bordeaux, and Holland, Belgium to get some money, because they're actually hurting for some money because of all the islands they're losing in Honolulu, so, and the Philippines now. So they're losing a lot of their bonuses. So, but we'll see what happens here. We got 6, 7, and 8 ready to go. Will Moscow stay? Probably. Okay, here we are, round 7 about to begin, and we're not really calling it, but we're just really fatigued. It's pretty late now. We've been at this for about a little over 12 hours, 12 and a half hours, and some of us have quite a ways to drive, but we're going to probably crank out one more round here. But as you can see in the Pacific, the Japanese have captured all these islands here. They're getting a lot of money from the bonuses, and they got Hawaii, which will likely not be taken back anytime soon and can be reinforced here. China is busting out though with the help of the UK, but they lost a lot of guys last round. Japan's been able to take Sumatra, Borneo, and Celebes and hold Malaya for now, and now they got 9 tanks on the mainland, so, and to say nothing of their Air Force. Anzac had an attempt here to sink this stuff. Unfortunately, they failed, lost a couple planes before retreating back to Java. Calcutta's building some stuff. The Italians had a nice little move here where they had a tank and just came down and were able to absolutely they diced the 2 British units that were here and took the factory. But the Russians, far from being toothless, came down and crushed Stalingrad, and still have about 30 units plus some friendly Anzacs up there helping them. So probably not much of a chance for Germany to take Moscow. Yeah, so that's what went on there. Cairo, not much going on there right now. They're just building units to hopefully take back the Middle East. Italy, finally, this is the first round in the whole game where they have their med point for no ships, and built a couple of subs just in case some ships decide to come in. Some big movement by the Americans. This is the second turn in a row they've taken Normandy and Holland, and yeah, there's just way too much there for the German fleet to deal with, so we just tucked ourselves back in behind there. The Canadians took Norway, and they also, for those of you keeping score, the Canadians also took the Italian Somaliland. So, and that's a bit of an NO for them. They got 3 points for being in a formerly Axis territory. Final build here that'll get into the war for the Americans right here, and that's going to be it. We're gonna probably zip through this round 7 here. There's just a few attacks that need to happen, and we'll let you know how it all comes out and see if there's a chance for the Allies to come back. I think right now there's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I think there's 14 victory points. I think it's 14.
15 right now.
Is it 15?
Yeah.
So yeah, so the Allies have got their work cut out for them. Not to say it's impossible, but we'll take a look and see what we see. All right, we'll let you know right after this. Okay, this here is the last leg of the journey today. We kind of half-heartedly did some of the key battles that were going to take place in the final round here, and some went well, some didn't go well. But essentially, we've kind of shut her down because there's not much anybody can really do. Japan came down and took the Money Islands here. The Axis, or the British, came and took this back and came through Northwest Round to make a little bit of money, but the Italians still hold this. The Italians were able to take Stalingrad back. These two clumps of guys didn't bother attacking each other because neither could really win in an attack, really. In a defense was much stronger. Yeah, the Italians actually, like I say, they were doing pretty well there at the end. We didn't even get to the Italian turn. We didn't bother doing much with UK, US either, because there's not really an awful lot they can do that's going to change the outcome of this game. Here we got this big mess up here. The Germans have really bulked up a lot of stuff. The Italians have come to help. There's a lot of Italians in Paris and just tons of stuff. There's 10 artillery there in Western Germany, just got built. Got another 6 infantry in Germany, ready to get railed somewhere. Canada could not hold Norway. That was kind of a long shot. Yeah, this is just this has been a pretty convincing Axis victory. And again, you know, our opponent, it was his first time playing the full BBR, and so it's always tough when you do a new rule set. So, yeah.
Shout out to all of our friends playing in Bloodbath, and thank you to Sire Blood for making such a great game. Like we had a lot of fun today, and sorry we cannot be there with our American friends. Perhaps BBR 4, we can join.
That would be nice. That would be nice. Maybe COVID will be done by then. But yeah, so to everybody who's watching this, thanks so much for doing so. Good time was had by all. Lots of learning done. The Canadians, there they are, the Horn of Africa, because why not? But we know that the bloodbath is still going on at the time of filming right now down in Atlanta. At Sire Blood's new digs down there, so check out that. I'm sure that the videos have been posted. Maybe Hambone HQ, VK Cowboy, G.I. Joe. Not sure who's putting anything up online, but yeah, check out their channels and see what you can see and learn about the BBR. It's a great game. But until next time, hug your loved ones. Say thanks to your friends. Thanks, friend. And
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
that was a good time. And as we always say, may the dice be with you.